Welcome everyone to the channel. Today we're going to be doing the top 10 performances of 2024. We're getting to the end of the year. I'm going to be releasing my top 10 movies of 2024. Just finishing seeing some of the best movies out there. A lot of them haven't fully released, but we have the best performances, at least performances I really like. There is a short list. We're going to go through them right now. Here are the top 10 performances of 2024. Number 10, Juliette Garepi in Red Rooms. I don't know if anyone has seen Red Rooms. It is a really creepy, really interesting French movie, but the main performance in this movie is absolutely bone-chilling. It's from this new actress. She plays a model who is obsessed with this case of a serial killer who records his crimes, and she's trying to obtain the copy of the film recording. And it's a really creepy movie. The reason I went to see this is because the reviews were saying it was very much like a David Fincher movie. There's a lot of great performances in this movie, and Juliette Garepi was just excellent. She was so chilling at playing this character who's obsessed with true crime. And it's really not just, her performance, which is very much a subtle one. She kind of just doesn't talk a lot through the movie. She just has this very blank expression. It's almost sociopathic the way she plays this character. Just how quiet she is and how obsessed with this crime. And I really don't want to give away more about the movie, but really as the character kind of evolves, you get to see this more unhinged side to her. That's all I really want to say. There is another performance in this movie that's really good by Laurie Babin. She's also a French-Canadian actress who's really great at bouncing off of Juliette Garepi in this movie, but I just really thought her performance in the movie was great. The movie itself was really great, but the performance definitely was one of the most chilling things I've seen this year. There's a scene near the end that actually was so frightening. Just in a subtle, really creepy, unsettling way. She's excellent in this movie. Red Rooms is one of the creepy movies of this year, so definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. Number 9, James McAvoy in Speak No Evil. I know, a lot of people are biased against horror. You're not seeing Speak No Evil on a lot of top 10 lists. I honestly did think, though, it was one of the best horror movies of the year. And there's a lot of people who agree, they're like, The Substance is better, there's Nosferatu's better. I think those movies are very good, but honestly, Speak No Evil, for just a Hollywood, and this is a remake of a foreign movie, it's so Hollywood, this is one of the better Hollywood horror movies this year. It does drag a little bit towards the end, but James McAvoy's performance in this, and honestly just the overall movie itself is very good, but James McAvoy is an amazing performer, we all know this. He never was nominated for an Oscar for Glass or for Split, where he was great, but he's so great at playing unhinged in this character. Similar to Juliette Garepi, he has this evolution in this movie where he starts one way and his performance gradually changes. I think you're going to see that there's a recurring theme on this list of characters who, through the movie, evolve. I think that's all great performances, but he's really incredible in this, just how he takes how you see this character kind of going from a guy you think is really normal, Patty, that's his name, to being absolutely unhinged, psycho, batshit crazy. James McAvoy is just so committed, and it makes sense because in the marketing for this movie, it just said his name, James McAvoy, in Speak No Evil, and I was like, I wonder who's really going to see this because of James McAvoy. It's just an interesting selling point. He was clearly the big actor. They had Scoot McNairy in this, Mackenzie Davis, I think is her name, the girl from Blade Runner 2049. I just really like this movie, and James McAvoy's performance was so good. I had to put it on the list because he's just an excellent performer, and everything he's in, he dials up to an 11. Absolutely loved him in this. Let's move on to the number 8 pick. Number 8, Kirsten Dunst in Civil War. I really loved Civil War. Actually, that's kind of a lie. I didn't love it, but this was a great theater-going experience. I saw this in the city in RPX. It was a movie I didn't really expect to see in RPX because I thought it was kind of like a small indie movie, but I saw this with a huge crowd. It was an entertaining movie, and Kirsten Dunst was so good in it. Again, I haven't seen her in really a lot of movies recently, but the way she plays this burdened, really depressed war photographer was so great. It's really a great performance that she was so committed to. And it really is great the way she bounces off other great characters in the movie, like Kaylee Spaney and Wagner Moura. They're all really great in this movie, but I thought Kirsten Dunst was like, the glue kind of holding this film together. And, there was a lot of other great stuff. Jesse Plemons is in this movie. I remember when the trailers were coming out, everyone was like showing that one scene with him where he's like, should I kill you guys? But Kirsten Dunst in Civil War, excellent performance. I really loved her in this. My number 7 pick for best performances of the year, Saoirse Ronan in The Outrun. Saoirse Ronan is absolutely excellent in this movie, where she plays a recovering alcoholic who lives in this small island in Ireland. The movie itself, I was not really a huge fan of. I thought it was a very well-crafted, small movie about a person struggling with this alcoholism. And I thought Saoirse Ronan was just so great. She always puts out great performances. She was in another movie this year, Blitz, which honestly was much worse than The Outrun. I spoke about that in my worst movies of the year. It wasn't the worst, but it was just very disappointing, and she was kind of just a cliched character in that. Great performer. But in The Outrun, she has this very unique take on someone who's very desperate, who's very alone and sad, and I really just loved her performance. It was really dedicated, and it was a great role. Number 6 is kind of a cheat, but it's Sebastian Stan in 2 movies, and I'm sure you guys know. He was really great in A Different Man, and he was really great in The Apprentice. And I want to briefly talk about both of those. A Different Man just was such a committed performance from him, where you really got this sense of a guy who was struggling with not getting what he wanted in life. The movie A Different Man itself was so great, and I really liked the movie, and Sebastian Stan's performance definitely anchored that film along with all the supporting actors in that movie. But his performance in The Apprentice was really just so great. Seeing him transform again with this theme of evolution into Donald Trump was wonderful. I remember seeing this in a really crowded theater. Everyone was laughing because I saw this in New York City, and it was just an amazing crowd for this movie. But watching him go from young Donald Trump to being the Trump we all know now was really just incredible, because it's very nuanced. You get to see how this character becomes who he is now, going from someone who's, really an ideal person who cares about people and wants to do the right thing, to just doing whatever he can to win. And seeing Jeremy Strong also is very great in this. He really is one of the better performances of the year too. I didn't put him on the list, but he is so great, and I think him and Sebastian Stan make this movie. Like, both of them together are great. So I really loved The Apprentice. I thought the acting in that was amazing, and just seeing the evolution of that character, is the best part of the movie, along with just the great direction. It was really good. All right, number 5. I don't think a lot of people were expecting this, but Chris Hemsworth in Mad Max Furiosa. He was really great in this movie, and I've never seen Chris Hemsworth like this in any movie. Honestly, a lot of people are probably going to say, well, there are better, movies, like there's Demi Moore and Adrian Brody, and I agree, there are so many great performances this year, but just getting to see Chris Hemsworth do something that I've never seen him do on a scale like this, it's just something, for me at least, it's unprecedented in a lot of blockbusters. We did have Dune this year, yes, and there were really good performances in Dune, but for me, it was Furiosa, it was Chris Hemsworth. Anya Taylor-Joy is really great in Furiosa, but she is in the movie less than Chris Hemsworth. And I mean, it's just the way the story goes. Ayla Brown plays young Furiosa, and it's really great. Everyone is great in this, but getting to see Chris Hemsworth as this evil, shaggy, kind of like cult leader type guy, he was so good as Dementis. I loved Furiosa. I loved the world building of Furiosa. But Chris Hemsworth as Dementis is a performance I never thought I would see from him. And it's another side to him that's really wild and fun. And for a blockbuster movie, it's a really great, over-the-top performance. And it was one of the best of the year. It might not have such subtle nuances as, the indie films that came out this year where characters have to really play this role a specific way. He is just going all out and having a ton of fun, and I absolutely love that. This was a side to Chris Hemsworth that I've never seen, and I really hope to see in more movies. He's this guy who always plays the same role, Thor, and even in those Extraction movies, it's nothing really special. But this was something so different, something so wild and kind of scary and psychotic, and just beautiful to see how insane he was in this movie. Furiosa was an amazing movie. So Chris Hemsworth being cast in this, I was always skeptical. I didn't know who he'd be. I thought he was going to be like a typical Thor type guy, like joking and bantering, but he was not, and he was very different. I loved this movie. That's why Chris Hemsworth as Dementis is my number 5 pick for movie performances of 2024. My number 4 performance of the year is Nicholas Hoult in Juror number 2. I really loved Nicholas Hoult this year. He's been in so many good movies, from this to The Order to Nosferatu, and I almost put Lily Rose Depp on this list. Just want to say she was excellent. Obviously, she's really breaking into movies now. She was in The Idol. She was in a couple of small movies. She was really great in Nosferatu, I will say that. It's a very, very physical performance. But I want to talk about Nicholas Hoult in Juror number 2, who she was in Nosferatu with. he's really great in Juror Number 2, and he's been acting so long. To see him in this subtle role where he's really morally conflicted, where he's trying to do the right thing, where he's desperate and scared, and you just feel that the whole movie. He was really great, and Nicholas Hoult's done so many roles this year, but his role in Juror Number 2 was really excellent and really compelling. I thought he was really great in The Order, too. I thought he was really great in Nosferatu. The Order, though, especially was interesting because he played this neo-Nazi who, you were kind of trying to sympathize with because he had this family. He clearly believed in this insane belief, but Nicholas Hoult has a way of making his characters really human. He does that so well in Juror Number 2, where obviously he's not a neo-Nazi, but he's done something, and you're really conflicted in how you should feel about him. He was just so good. That's the reason Nicholas Hoult in Juror Number 2 is my fourth favorite performance of the year. Number 3 of my top 10 performances of 2024 goes to Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. I thought Cynthia Erivo was amazing, and all the reviews for Wicked point out that her and Ariana Grande were great. They are both excellent together, and I think Ariana Grande was really great. I didn't think her performance was like top 10 of the year. She's a musical performer. She was really great in the movie. She was very theatrical and fun, but I think Cynthia Erivo brings this really great energy, this theatrical energy, and she can also sing. So when she sings and acts, it's this beautiful combo. I think this was a very interesting performance because it really did rely more on having excellent musical ability. It did really sell the movie, though, because she is the heart of this movie. Her and Galinda's relationship is the heart of the movie, but it really is Elphaba's story. And honestly, I had never seen Wicked at all. I had never seen the play. I had never really known any of the songs, but she is a really compelling performer, and watching her perform, watching her really bring this magic to her role is one of the reasons this movie is so great, and you can really get behind Elphaba's character. I was really interested to see who they were going to cast for this role. I was thinking you really just cast anyone and paint them green, but Cynthia Erivo brings this very unique, very passionate energy to the role, and it really made this movie the hit it was, along with all the great performances and the great direction from John M. Chu, and the music, everything. It was really well done, but Cynthia Erivo's performance was excellent. That's why it's my number 3rd performance of the year. All right, number 2, Daniel Craig in Queer. Now, interestingly, Daniel Craig plays a gay character in this, and it's directed by Luca Guadagnino, who I know is gay, and I was just wondering, before I even went into this, because people always criticize casting a character in a movie who, if you're playing a gay character and you're not, I always feel like, oh, is that weird? Is that not the right choice? I'm not sure, honestly, but Daniel Craig in this movie is really great. The movie itself was really great and surreal and dreamlike, and I really liked it for that. But Daniel Craig plays such a great character that it made me think, he might not be gay or what the character he's playing is, but he really is committed to the role. He's really great in this role. It was one of my favorite performances of the year because of how desperate he is, because of how different it was from, like Chris Hemsworth and Furiosa. It's very different from many of the roles Daniel Craig has played, but he's so good at being this desperate, really sad, really lonely guy. And I really believed his character. He really goes through so much in this movie, so much emotion. And the way he also plays against Drew Starkey, who's very different from his character, is great. It was really just one of the best performances of the year. And I want to get to number 1. But before we do that, let's go through the honorable mentions and talk about the other performances this year that were really great. First honorable mention will be Josh Hartnett in Trap, because I hated Trap. I thought Trap was so fucking stupid. It was one of the worst, most frustrating movies of the year. But Josh Hartnett is really good and makes it watchable. He's really entertaining as this, and it's like a reoccurring theme, desperate guy. I just love Josh Hartnett in this movie. The movie itself was fucking terrible. People will be upset these are honorable mentions, but we have Adrian Brody, Guy Pearce, very good. Lily Rose Depp is really great in Nosferatu, really, really good. Demi Moore in The Substance, Hugh Grant in Heretic, Dennis Quaid in The Substance. I loved him in that movie where he's eating shrimp. Zoe Saldana and Emilia Perez, one of the only redeeming qualities. I fucking hated Emilia Perez. Wagner Moura in Civil War, Willa Fitzgerald in Strange Darling, Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain, Timothée Chalamet in A Complete Unknown. There were some really great performers in Conclave, like Stanley Tucci and Ralph Fiennes. Zendaya in Challengers. I really liked her performance in that. Ariana Grande in Wicked, Austin Butler in Dune. Nicolas Cage, for his very brief role in Long Legs, is very memorable for Nicolas Cage because he's always doing these fun movies. I really liked Tom Hardy in The Bike Riders earlier this year. Then he just went the total opposite direction with Venom: The Last Dance, where he was like, seemed like he didn't give a shit at all. Yura Borisov in Anora, honestly one of my favorite performances. It was very subtle, very nuanced. It was a great role. I love Naomi Scott in Smile 2. I thought she was really great. Again, horror always gets overlooked. And Denzel Washington, of course, in Gladiator 2. But my number one pick of the year is from one of my favorite movies of the year, and that's Mikey Madison in Anora. She's really great in this movie. I saw her in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Scream a while back when those movies came out. And I always kind of knew about her and knew she played crazy people. But she is so good in Anora. She's so good at playing this role that really I didn't ever expect to come from her because her last roles were like as psychopaths. She's so great at bringing humanity to this character, this sex worker who wants a better life for herself. It's a very, very nuanced role where it easily could just be this kind of girl who just wants to make money, wants to be just living the American dream. It's about that. But she really builds this desperation to her character, this kind of longing for something better, this humanity, this good person in her. You really get that sense. She's a good person who has to hustle to survive, who has to work and please people, and she never has been in this loving relationship, and that's all she might really want. That's also why I thought Yura Borisov was so great, because they play off each other so well. Everyone in Anora is excellent, but she is the beating heart of that movie. It's a very, very emotional movie that relies entirely on her performance. And the movie itself is one of my favorite movies of the year. It was a great movie. And Mikey Madison just absolutely nailed that role. I can't wait to see her in other movies. I think this will be her launch to the A-list. She's excellent in Anora, and I highly recommend you see it if you haven't seen it yet. So guys, thanks so much for watching my top 10 movie performances of 2024. Get excited because the top 10 most anticipated movies of 2025, as well as top 10 movies of 2024 coming out. So guys, thanks so much for watching. See you on the next one.